Shirley. Good to see you, Alyssa. How are you? I'm Rob. Gonna comment on some news in the midst of the day. A lot of news. We're gonna talk about Sydney Sweeney's used bath water being made into soap. Gross. So gross. I don't really know who Sydney Sweeney is. I guess she's a star of Euphoria. She's in a bunch of other things. She's in nothing I've watched. So she's not on my radar. Don't know who she is. But I do not understand certain fans' obsession with, I don't know. It just seems like people who would be like, oh, I drink your bathwater. That's where this all stemmed from. Fans of Sydney Sweeney saying they drink her bathwater, it's like, it's so degrading to yourself, but it's also like gross. Like, I wonder if these guys think that saying that to a woman would make her be like, oh wow, what a guy. I don't know if they think about this shit in their head at all, but and then Rome, the capital of Catholicism. Rome, the Vatican, is completely solar powered. Who knew? I did not know. I didn't know that Pope John Paul the 400th, or whatever all their popey names are, that one of the popes wanted to solarize, do green energy for the Vatican City. Vatican Rock City. Someone should redo Detroit Rock City and say Vatican Rock City. But who knew? In the news today, they're saying the Vatican is completely powered by solar, which is amazing. And then there's an article on, is it The Guardian? Is it one of these gate-kept news? I hate that the news is behind paywalls. And the reason I hate that is because I'm like, is this news ad-free? I'm pretty sure every news website has ads, banner ads, pop-up ads. They're selling our data. It drives me crazy that news is behind paywalls because they act like, to learn about democracy dies in darkness, but if you just give us $1, then democracy lives. But I hate whatever the article I linked. What's up, CJ King? Whatever article I linked about the Elon Musk leaked drug use, I forget if it's The Guardian or there's a few of these websites. The Hill, no. But they link it behind a paywall. You can read it like once for free, but if you go back to reread the article, which I've done like 3 or 4 times, they lock the article and they say like for only $1. And what drives me nuts about in capitalist America, these supposedly like we need a free press, right? We need to access the news. And what drives me nuts that they paywall these, it's like you're making money. You make these news places, the lamestream media, the main media outlets, they're not making money. They have banner ads. They have ads all over the sides of the news. It's like, why do you need $1 from me? Aren't you promoting advertisements to me? You're making money. Let me have the news. I don't care if I want to read an article 4 or 5 times. Like, stop paywalling. Stop gatekeeping the news from me. And it drives me nuts, especially when you know who owns these companies. It's like, they're billionaires. Why are you gatekeeping it? And more importantly, aren't they all selling our data? Don't they harvest our data like once you sign up? Once you sign up to pay them, they take that data that you signed up with and they sell it. So they're making tons of money off you. But it's like, I've never seen a news site not have some kind of virtual advertisement, online ads, banner ads, pop-up ads, click ads, all the ads that flood the news. So you have to find the article with around the ads. And it's like, those don't disappear if I pay you $1. So why am I paying you? Ugh. I'm sorry. I had to put somebody in timeout. If you're new here, hit subscribe, join the conversation, hit the notification bell. And I love when people join the conversation, as long as they're not being racist, homophobic, misogynist. Direct your hate towards the oppressing class, the elites. Please do that. Direct your hate towards the people who are trying to divide and conquer us. Okay? That's the only kind of animosity I'll accept. So if you're coming in here to troll and just spew out some hatred, save it. Go to like it's a Steven Crowder. Who's that other? Matt Walsh. I'm sure like Matt Walsh would tolerate that stuff. You know, go to one of those. Charlie Kirk. Go there. Get the fuck out of here. So we're going to talk about Elon Musk drug use, but I wanted to bring up a couple of things that are also hitting the news cycle today. Hey, what's up, Alyssa? I thought you were here earlier. I said hi to you right away. I seen your comment. Good to see you. But a few things in the news cycle. The Vatican, Rome, Rock City, where the Pope lives, it's powered by solar. If the Pope can do it, why can't we do it? And don't give me that, oh, well, the Vatican is only 42.2 square miles. It's like, no, you don't understand what I'm saying. You can do things on a larger scale. That's capitalism's whole thing. You take a little thing, you buy it out, you do it on a big scale, and then you strip it for parts and sell it off. Sell off the debt and collect the insurance money on it. But we can, do that on a larger scale. I've always wondered why every parking lot, I'm in a parking lot right now, why is every parking lot not covered with solar panels? Why is Florida, which has the tagline, the Sunshine State, not have solar panels on every roof? Like, if I was the king of Florida, I think that title is Taco, President Taco is the king of Florida. If you don't know what Taco stands for, that's just Trump always chickens out. So he is known as President Taco. I started painting. Oh, cool. What are you painting, Alyssa? I would love to know. I love art. Love art. But President Taco is the king of Florida. I would just implement a rule. I say any new buildings must have solar panels on the roof. We were going to feed a completely new grid, totally powered by solar, if I was the king of Florida. I would just implement it. And I would tell the people, listen, if we can power everything by solar, guess what? We don't have to pay National Grid or whoever your electric company is down there. It's so bewildering to me that in America we have like 3 electric companies and they're all owned by foreign billionaires. We're so dumb here. We're just so dumb. But that's what I would do if I ruled Florida, the Australia of America. I would just make a law that any new buildings need solar panels, because if you're the quote-unquote Sunshine State, it would just make sense, right? And it would save people money, and it would move us off of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means they're going to go extinct. They're a finite resource. They're not making any more. They come from fossils. So unless we become the new fossils, they're going to run out. Alyssa, it's a trippy painting like mushroom's eyes and smiley face. The words say trip out. Oh, that's cool. Do they have blacklight paint? I think there's a way. Back in the day, we used to make blacklight paint. I think you can make it with highlighters. You can use a highlighter, water. There was a way to make blacklight fluorescent paint. I'm sure there's a YouTube video on it, but you should dabble some of that blacklight paint in there. Yeah, do it for the outlines. That's cool. I like that. Okay, so Sydney Sweeney. So the couple of headlines were the Vatican is powered by solar. Vatican City. Why can't we do that? Why can't we be like the Pope City? Pope Rock City. And Microsoft, I just read a headline, didn't even get to read the whole article, but apparently if you think the people at Microsmart are pretty smart, Microsmart, but if you think the Microsoft people are pretty smart, let me tell you this, the workers there just negotiated their first union contract. So solidarity with all the workers at Microsoft who just got their first union contract. I just saw that pop up when I was about to go live. So I always want to make mention when workers get to negotiate contracts, because that gives them more power, more leverage, and more money, and usually better benefits. And if there's a union in your town, if one of your businesses has a union, guess what? Your wages go up when a union's in town, because when they raise wages, we saw this a few years ago with all the auto workers when they started going on strike and they all got negotiated raises. Guess what? Elon Musk, notorious union buster, he gave his employers raises right after because he did not want to lose them to the other auto workers, the other auto employers. Painting is your favorite. That's rad. I think more people should take time out of their day to paint, you know? Like Spain has a national siesta in the afternoon. I think we should have a national art time where no matter where you are, you take a break, you leave work, and you go paint. You could paint, draw, do something virtual, make a meme. You could, what's it called when they shape the clay? Sculpt, anything. I think here in America we should have every afternoon a national art hour. But again, I'm a radical wokeist. So me thinking that every afternoon, 7 days a week in America, you should have a national art hour where you just take time out of your day to create something, whether it be a poem, a song, a clay pot, an ashtray, a drawing, a painting. I think that would be healthy for everyone. And we just close down all the stores, everything shuts down for an hour, and you just make something. You just create something. It could be a video, it could be anything artistic. But, you know, that's not... I feel like asking, what is a man? You know how Matt Walsh says, what is a woman? What is a man? Does he take an hour to do art? Well, technically, yeah. Right? I think Mr. Da Vinci spent a lot of his time doing art. It's so funny what people will qualify as like American or macho. It's so weird. Because that would be so healthy if we just took an hour out of our day. Every American at 2 o'clock, every store shuts down, and everybody just does an hour of art. I don't know how I got off on this tangent. Oh, because the unionized Microsoft employees. But yeah, we should be doing that. We need a siesta. Mel Lee, good to see you again. Make sure you hit subscribe and notification bell. Join the conversation, as I'm now saying. Join the conversation. Hit the notification bell because I go live every weekday. We comment on the news, but sometimes I go off on tangents on what I would do, because apparently now the president, Taco, but the president in America is a king. He can't be held liable for anything. Anything he does that is an official act isn't criminal. So he's above the law, which was like the whole point of America was to have accountability and to not have a king, to have someone that wasn't above the law. So it's really weird that like we've regressed to a fascist king, a tyrannical dictator. And that's what it is. This isn't like to debate, oh, why is Trump called Taco? Because Taco is an acronym. It stands for Trump Always Chickens Out. So President Taco. But sometimes we'll just dive into, you know, how do we make America better? And I say a national art hour every day at 2 o'clock. And then maybe a siesta after. Or if you want to do a 2 o'clock nap, and then at 3 o'clock, everybody does art for an hour, and then we can go back to work. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I'm not wrong, because brainstorming is how we got America. A bunch of guys at a bar, a bunch of white old dudes at a bar, you know, drinking mead. drinking mead, discussing how they didn't like a king who wasn't held accountable for anything, could just keep taxing them on stamps. And they were like, nah, we've had enough. We're writing a declaration of our independence. And now, here we are, 2 million years later, or roughly, and the people are like, you know what, we should have a king again. That's just like a good idea. I don't know if the world has tried that, but we should have a leader who doesn't have to follow any laws, can do whatever he wants. There's no judges or courts or lawyers or anyone to check him. And if you disagree with him, he can just send you to his El Salvadorian prison. Like, I don't know how we went this backwards, but naps are the best. That's right, Alma. I think your idea is amazing. Art and naps before going back to work is a way to go in with a good mood. Well, Alyssa, my idea is scientifically proven. I'm going to take some liberties, because we're in America, to explain why it's scientific. In the UK, 100 corporations decided to try out a 4-day work week. And they did it for, I forget the period of time. I talked about this in a live a while back. And they went to a 4-day work week, a 3-day weekend. And what they found is they had better productivity, not as much burnout with employees. Their revenues and their profits went up. Their employee satisfaction, their customer satisfaction, everything, injuries went down. Everything was positive from this, because it turns out if you actually treat the people who work for you good, and you care for them, and you give them time away from work, they'll be regenerated and rejuvenated and re-energized when they come back, and they'll be more productive. So this is just science. It's happened 100 years ago when unions fought for the weekend, and employers were like, oh shit, the injuries went down, profits have gone up, people have more money to buy our stuff. It's just common sense, but somehow Americans have bought into listening to the bosses. They're like, yeah, the CEOs are our politicians and pay our politicians. Literally, a CEO is president right now, President Taco. And somehow most Americans are like, yeah, that guy, his beliefs align with mine. I'm like, they couldn't be farther. That guy doesn't give a shit about the weekend, because if he wants to go golf whenever he wants, he can. If a boss says, I'm not going in today, you can't say nothing. The workers, on the other hand, have all the responsibility and have all the consequences and barely get by. So it's just weird that we've somehow, as a collective, as people, we've all been persuaded by the bosses that this is what's best for us, even when common sense dictates that people who are well rested will work better. They're less prone to injury. I mean, just try staying up and working for 2 days, 18-hour days, and then see how you are on your third day if you're as productive, as opposed to try working for a couple of days and then having that same amount of time off. When you go back to work, guess what? Your mind state is a little different. And I think the internet, there's a really good, just part of the internet that thinks grind culture, and there's just so many scumbags on the internet who are doing podcasts, their money comes from sitting and talking. Well, I don't make any money from this, but they do what I'm doing essentially. And they're telling you you're not working hard enough, or you should never retire, or weekends are for babies. Meanwhile, they podcast for 2 hours a day, take all your money by selling you magic brain pills, and, get to fucking do whatever they want. I hate that. When I make a lot of money in this, I will continue to fight for a 4-day weekend. Okay, my people, working from home is an amazing idea. Amazing idea. The reason bosses don't want you to work from home is because they got bills to pay. They got rent to pay. They rented that building and it ain't gonna pay for itself. They want you in. They want butts in seats. But there's no point. I mean, shit. We all learned that lesson. Sorry, I'm not reading some of the comments. He's going to stream it. Did you see the new Pope is going to do an online service on President Taco's birthday? Amazing. That's a good troll. Good for President Taco to do a North Korean military parade. Let's see if he's really the believer in Jesus like he says. Let's see if he will attend that service. I think that's awesome. I think, Bruce Springsteen should hold a free concert that day. The Pope should do a service. Alma, I don't know if you heard, I was mentioning in the news, and we're going to get to Sydney Sweeney. I don't know who she is. Well, I learned about who she is, but she ain't in my orbit. And her used bathwater being soap. I really got to get to that. But the Vatican Rock City is all powered by solar. A link down below. Very fascinating, and I think it's inspiring, and I think we should... It is raining. It just started raining out of nowhere. That's crazy. It's like Florida weather. Okay, so Sydney Sweeney. I guess she's teaming up with Dr. Squatch. And has anybody noticed how expensive soap is lately? back when I was growing up, man, soap was like $3. Now there's soap that's $13. I'm like, what the fuck? Why does nobody say like, oh, if you pay people more, soap's going to be more expensive? It's like soap is crazy expensive. What is this, Fight Club soap? Jesus. But Sydney Sweeney, star of Euphoria. I guess she's some young, some young Hollywood celebrity girl that the young men are infatuated with. But I think it's weird that in the article I linked, it said she, did a campaign or an ad with Dr. Squatch featuring soap, and she was in a bath. And some of her comments from young men and maybe young women, I don't know who, I would think the depravity came from men. And it's so gross to me, but she said some of the comments, what led to this soap bar with Sydney Sweeney's used bath water, what led to this idea and to this soap bar that's being released, is that people were commenting saying, I would drink your used bath water. And I thought, that's so gross. But more importantly, like, what do guys think women are going to comprehend that as? I don't know. We're just in trouble if the youth of today thinks that like saying I would drink your used bathwater is like a pickup line. Women are like, wow, that's a keeper, right? If she's talking with her girlfriends and she's like, he said he would drink my dirty bathwater. If her girlfriends are like, what a gem. What a gem. I can't get my man to do the dishes, but that guy's drinking your bathwater. What a keeper. Like, what do these guys think? Like, what happened to clever pickup lines? What happened? And I'm not saying I'm a saint in my past. What I'm saying is this, I also would like to see the comments, because I don't know if this is a plant, if this is a psyop by Dr. Squatch, and they did the comments saying I drink your bath water, and this is just a big, like, Alice Cooper style promotional kit to get the parents enraged or to get media attention. Again, I'm not against that idea. It could just be a psyop, and it was Dr. Squatch himself. I believe his name is Dr. Thelonious Squatch, and he went to Harvard University to study soap. And I don't know if Dr. Squatch himself planted those comments so they could do this whole thing and make a PR. Hey, it's my strange Trump hater dude. What's he yapping about today? Oh, fear not. You'd probably like these comments. People were commenting on Sydney Sweeney's Instagram saying they would drink her bath water when she did a promotion with Dr. Squatch soap. Dr. Thelonious Malcolm Squatch soap bar. And I think it might be a psyop just to get some PR. And now Dr. Squatch is releasing, with Sydney Sweeney, releasing a soap with her used bath water. Her used soapy water, her dirty water. You want to clean yourself with her dirty water. None of it makes sense. Maybe it's just a capitalist promotional, let's get some viral attention. That could be it. This Sydney Sweeney used dirty bathwater soap that she's releasing in June could totally just be capitalism trying to get a viral hit and try to get people clamoring. Because their soap, I think they said this soap's only going to be $6, but I've seen soap at $13. Who is okay with that in America? If you want these people to bathe, these Marco Rubio looking dudes to bathe, you got to make soap cheaper, folks. You got to make good quality soap cheaper. That's another thing I would do if I got to be king president, because we have a king as president now, President Taco. Trump always chickens out. But I would make soap cheaper. Because if you complain about people not bathing, drinking dirty bath water, you got to make the soap cheaper, man. Hi, 12 Eric Cartman. 12 Eric Catch Me, sorry. Especially SoCal. We barely get any rain, desert climate. I remember. Oh, yeah. Crap ton of sun. Solar should dominate. And yes, companies like SDG&E blocking it. You see these electric companies trying to block it instead of embrace it. They're going to have to embrace it. Once the oil runs out, they're going to be like, we should switch. They're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to have a dark period. We're going to have we're going to have another dark period because we're going to have no Wi-Fi. So Sydney Sweeney fans apparently saying they want to drink her dirty bathwater. I call psyop. I don't think the fans really said that. Maybe a couple of rogue Charlie Kirk listeners said that, you know, their depravity, they think that's masculine. These young men need mentors. Man, they need friends. They need people to put them in check. But if it is true, it's weird because Dr. Squatch fully embraced it. And they were making a used bathwater with Sydney Sweeney's dirty bathwater into a soap bar. And it's going to be released. They said limited edition. I would like to think, you know, when you're taking a bath, you don't want somebody's... I mean, do people get into a tub after somebody else used it? I guess if you're in a pinch, but that seems gross. I don't care if it's Sydney Sweeney, Kate Beckinsale, Mariah Carey. I don't give a rip. I would be like, fucking drain that. Get out of here. I don't want to see your dirty bath. This is gross. It's absolutely disgusting. You know what, Sydney? You should use the dirty bath water that you shaved in, so all your little leg hairs are in the soap bar. So when they're washing up, they're like, this isn't my hair. What the hell? Like, go full, you know, if you're going to be gross with soap, Dr. Squatch, let me suggest, put, you know, some short and curlies on the bar of soap. Make it authentic, you know? Give it the old chef's kiss. Really get the depravity in it, if that's what we're going for. I love that this is a Christian, that they want to make this a Christian country. When you got people in the comments saying, I drink your dirty bath water. And then the capitalist companies are like, we'll make it a product. We'll make dirty soap bath water a product. Meanwhile, you got all those people who would buy that soap being like, well, yes, we have godlike values in this country. Cleanliness is not as good as dirty soap water. Only 5,000 bars of soap available. Yeah, and they should all go in the trash. Sorry, I'm not for waste, but that is getting gross. Would anybody here buy that, or is anybody going to try? They're doing a giveaway on their Instagram, too. I don't use Instagram, but I just... To me, I'm like, that's gross, you know? Like, make a perfume, like Sydney, make a scent for an all-natural roll-on scent or something. You know, if guys are that fanatic with you. Like, why don't you design... That's what I don't understand. It's like, the logical thing would be like, Sydney Sweeney designed this scent for men that she can't resist. You know? That was like the whole Axe body spray. It was like for the cheap dude that wanted to feel like women couldn't resist the scent. Like, do that. And I'm pretty sure Axe body spray worked. I mean, everyone in 2001, including Fred Durst, was wearing it, right? I used to be You're Alive and asked to play Fortnite. Oh, what's up? 12 Air Catch Me. Yeah, man. Good to see you again. Good to see you again. Fortnite. Is there a new update today? They're doing a whole galactic battle. The Star Wars realm in the Fortnite universe. It's cool. So yeah, so that's Sydney Sweeney stuff. I don't know. I don't get it, but people just say I'm old. But I just think even when I was young, I'd be like, dirty bath water. Like, just drain it. You know? Why don't you tell me what scents you like? Like, there's so many other logical things. And it just seems depraved. It just seems like ripe for the culture. Like, the culture thinks they're, you know, living in God's image. They think it's masculine, but the shit coming out of their mouth is so, you're like... The other news that I wanted to share. Oh, Jesus. I'm not going to read that comment. If you're watching this later, you could go ahead and read. No. Listen, I'm a gardener, so, you know, a celebrity fertilizer brand, I'm not against. There's so many things. We could totally hoe that road. That is funny. But yeah, why don't they just make a little dog poop baggie with her fertilizer? That's the closest I'll give to you for damn Mel Lee. That was funny. That was. And at this point, Mel, I got to be honest with you. I'm sure there were guys who would buy it, not for their garden, if you get what I'm saying. My son is doing well. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's closing up on the school year, too. That's cool, man. It's an exciting time for the youths. Just don't be drinking bath water. You know, don't be doing it. I mean, Christ, they ate Tide Pods. Oh, speaking of eating Tide Pods, there is leaked, in a leaked photo, which I can't find the photo. And trust me, I've searched. They said leaked photos shows the extent of Elon Musk's, the Doge father, the doggy father. Elon Musk, who didn't create Tesla, he just bought it, who is not an engineer in any way. He doesn't make the rockets go up. He just gets the government money, our taxpayer-funded subsidies. He just extorts us for that. He's the one that went into the government and said, anybody investigating my companies, you're now fired. He created massive layoffs, is not a genius at all, and really jumps awkwardly. That Elon Musk, the one who says the woke mind virus killed his son because his son is a transgender woman or girl. She's a young girl. That guy who is against gender-affirming surgeries, who also got a gender-affirming surgery to put hair back on his head. That Elon Musk, who is anti-gender-affirming surgeries, but has absolutely had some plastic surgery done to his head. And 100%, that dude definitely had hair plugs or some kind of hair. He went to Turkey or where are the kids going to get their hair done, to get hair put back on their head? What do? Shave it off their butt and put it on their head? Because if you see pictures of Elon Musk, he was bald at in his teens or early 20s. That PayPal photo where he has no hair, it's all splotchy, looks like a feral dog. That dude who doesn't like gender affirming surgery is okay as long as he does it. It makes him look more manly. Okay? That guy. Diesel. Everything's political. I hate to break this to you. People are not well aware of how the world works. You got to go listen to some Bo Burnham. He'll teach you. He has a song, How the World Works. He does it with the puppet too. I'm sure that's your par. That's at your level. I could do a puppet. So Elon Musk, there is detailed information that was published today, linked down below if you want to read it for yourself, that his drug use far exceeded just a doctor's prescription of ketamine. Which I always thought, if you're willing to talk about your ketamine use on that large of a stage while you're supposedly the leader of many companies and a leading figure in our government, but he was unelected and he's an illegal immigrant from South Africa. If you're willing to talk about ketamine use, and that's the other thing, these wealthy people, Elon has billions. He could never spend that if he lived to be 1,000. I'm sure he's got a doctor that's paid for, I don't know how legit the prescription is, but who knows? Somehow he can use ketamine with the doctor's note. But I always thought, if you're willing to talk about it like that, there might be, and just the behavior. I don't know if you've seen the video of him at the inauguration where his eyes are not all there. Or just the way he jumps. It's very much suspect, or sus, as the kids call it. And now this article, linked down below, talks about, he would carry around a little box, which, if you know a professional drug user, sometimes they have a box filled with different instruments. And apparently his had many different pills, some being Adderall. And that the ketamine use wasn't limited to just that, but also ecstasy and magic mushrooms. Which, listen, I will say this. MDMA and psilocybin are both proven to have medicinal use. America has made it illegal for even scientists and doctors to test these things out. And slowly, over the recent decades, more and more funding and doctors and people who have medical degrees, the professionals. I've always said, who do you consider a professional when it comes to drugs? A doctor, someone who's studied and read about it in books, or somebody who's done it? Those are the professionals. But there's been a little more leeway with being able to test these things. And what they found is people with PTSD, especially veterans, really can benefit from microdosing, or really can come over horrific trauma with these different substances. They're medicines, but they need to be used correctly. But our American government has a total, land of the free, but total lockdown on what we can use. Oh, you want to go drink and do whatever? Yeah, go ahead, even though that caused millions of deaths. But something that could be used to help, victims of PTSD or victims of wars or people with horrific trauma, that we can't even look into. Well, thankfully, there have been people who have been looking into it, and it is proven. So I will defend those medicines. But what I won't defend is some billionaire going off the rails. Just go look up Elon Musk jumping, and you'll be like, that's drug use. That is, nobody jumps like that, by pure will. Nobody wants to look like that when they're jumping. That's a little suspect. But I'm telling you, the details in this article all seem to line up, because somebody who would ingest that many drugs over a period of time, just from my personal experience alone, I will tell you, you become extremely paranoid. Everybody's out to get you. And I've witnessed it in close friends, and it was a very, very sad moment. And that's how, when you go, oh, he's using those drugs, oh, he's mixing all that stuff. And it also seems like if you're doing all that and you're in that position of power, you might have a problem. Because if you can't stop and you're like, no, now it's like, no, the doctor said I had to. That old excuse, which I've seen too, you almost feel bad for him, and then you realize he's a Nazi and you go, I don't give a shit. But it's really scary to think that that guy has so much power. And it's really scary to think that, he would demonize anybody else who had an addiction problem or who is vulnerable or one of the minorities in society that are usually demonized with that stuff. But this article detailing, yes, did you not see his salute? Did you not see the stuff he retweets? Did you not see the people he hangs out with? The people he allowed back. He bought a website and then he let Nazis back onto the website. The people we fought in World War II, the white supremacists. I'm not going to debate this. It's not a debate. Just go on fucking Twitter and you'll see. Trust me, I've been there for almost 2 decades, and it's sad, it's sad that people don't think it, but he is. Just go look at, if you don't think he's severely racist, go look up Elon Musk Tesla company in Piedmont, California, and how they treated the black folks there. I'm not here to debate this. This is settled. You can go to Matt Walsh's podcast or Ben Shapiro, and I'm sure they'll entertain this. Jordan Peterson will want to get into the intricacies of what these words actually mean, and can we apply them as labels to people? But it's bullshit. His family moved to South Africa. On his mom's side, his grandfather moved to South Africa because it was apartheid state. He was a Nazi sympathizer. It runs in his family. So anyways, when it comes to Elon Musk, and these detailed allegation or the leaked, they're saying it's leaked photos, which I'm still trying to find the photos. They don't put the photos in there. But this stuff, it makes sense because somebody at that caliber of wealth, the elite, Elon, the elite, doing that many drugs, it's going to make him paranoid, especially when you're dealing with all these different things. You would think you'd be like, I got important stuff to do. I probably shouldn't be doing this stuff today. And that's the other reason when it becomes like a problem, when it's like, you can't just wait till Friday night. You can't wait till, you're on your mega yacht or your private island or whatever. You're doing it everywhere all the time throughout the day. And this is what people are saying, people close to him. They're like, oh yeah, this dude is doing it everywhere at all these events in private, which that's when it's a problem. When you can't contain yourself, when every day becomes Friday night. The child's name, and you're not disputing my thoughts. You're Diesel, what you're trying to dispute is, oh, that wasn't a Nazi salute. Oh, he didn't let Nazis and white supremacists back onto Twitter. These aren't my thoughts. I'm telling you his actions. That's what I mean. It's ironical that you're debating well, did Elon really mean to let these people who are known to spew hatred back onto? Yes, he owns it. He fucking did. It's so stupid. And it's all so you could defend your supreme leader, the elite Elon. It's just to come to the defense of billionaires, and it's tiring. It's so tiring. Oh. Don't puss out now, Diesel. Come on, man. And listen, I respect you. You're here, okay? But I just don't respect people that try to pretend Elon isn't a shitbag. He is. He is the guy. Elon's the guy that said the woke Weidmeyer killed my child. He had all his kids IVF to make them all boys. One of them, who's a lovely young woman, is now a woman. And he talks about his daughter like she's dead. And he fights for people to get gender-affirming surgeries. Meanwhile, Elon himself magically has hair on his head again. You know what I mean? How can you defend this shit? I just don't understand people who can defend him. Like, he got gender affirming surgeries. It's okay. Who gives a shit? But don't wield your mighty billionaire power to, make other people suffer, especially people who aren't even at your caliber. Like, in his instance, Elon Musk is always punching down. He has billions. He's helping to run the government. He's always punching down. You'd think he'd do something good. Why don't we ever hear Elon be like, you know what? I know what it's like to be on drugs. Drug addicts got a bad rap. Let's make a bunch of rehabs everywhere so we can get drug addicts off the street. We can get them into rehab and we can get them back into our communities and give them some hope again. How come he has so much money, he could just do that for fun and you never hear this guy doing it? Anyone who defends Elon, you're a shitbag, okay? Those are my thoughts. That's my thought. You're an asshat for defending Elon. A guy who could, for fun, be like, homeless vets? No, we should not have any veterans who serve this country. That's not his country, by the way. He's an illegal immigrant, so he doesn't give a shit about this country. He's like Roger Ailes, or Rupert Murdoch. He's like Rupert Murdoch. His name is Keith Murdoch, I think his real name. Keith Murdoch, or Rupert Murdoch, who has Fox News, owns that empire. I think he's the reason for the show's succession. He's from Australia. You think he gives a shit? He loves sowing division. People are falling for these foreigners who are coming in pretending like this is their country. It ain't. Those are the only illegal immigrants I'll say, get the fuck out. Go back to Africa, Elon. Also, I'm aware of my lack of knowledge in these things, which are why I've never voted ever. Listen, Diesel, my apologies. I'm very sorry. I thought when you initially came in here, you said, is this the guy? You said something like, is he raving about politics and something like, I don't remember what you said. Sorry, I'm not catching all the comments. And usually when people come in here saying that, they're ready to defend Taco, Trump, and Elon. So I really appreciate you explaining yourselves. And I did think you were trolling a bit. And you know what? I respect that. Diesel, I respect that one the most. See, you said, LOL, I was trolling a bit. I knew you were. I knew it. Diesel. See? Look at that. Join the family. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I go live every single weekday. And even a troll like Diesel can have some fun in here. Right? Damn. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Remember, a great philosopher from the 90s, Van Wilder, once said, don't take life too seriously. You'll never make it out alive. Oh. But yeah, I just want to talk. Oh, lemon cayenne. Give it a second to go down before you finish drinking or before you start talking. But yeah, just don't support that asshat Elon Musk. As soon as he's like gender affirming surgery, no way. That's woke radical leftist stuff. But then you're like, how come you have hair now? Like, are you reverse Benjamin Button when it comes to hair? Because you were bald when you were younger and now magically you have hair? Did you maybe get a surgery to affirm your gender? I just want people to call out the bullshit, and Elon's full of it. And probably because he, according to this article, does a lot of drugs. It's funny that I'll talk about me being a former addict, and people will love to be like, why don't you just shut up, you junkie? Why don't you just shut up? Why should we listen to you? But you'll listen to Elon Musk, who is like actively, like, I'm a former, right? I've gotten sober. I've worked my ass off. I love helping people that are in the struggle. I love seeing people get out of it. And I've known a lot of people who have died. Many close friends of mine have been taken too soon because of this goddamn, from addiction. But it's funny that people will judge me, and be like, shut up, why should we listen to anything you say? You used to be a junkie. But Elon Musk, who's actively like taking ketamine and then doing weird jumps on stage, according to this article, they're like, anything he says, we'll listen, right? Well, again, it's because of the wealth. What do I call it? The wealth something. They confuse people having money with people being smart. And because you have money doesn't make you smart. Most of these people, inherited it, especially President Taco. I don't know how to find the truth information-wise, Diesel says. That makes sense. It's very difficult nowadays. Well, I would like to learn more. However, it's difficult. Well, to find the truth, it can be difficult, especially when you're just trying to cite other sources. You know, how many people are reporting this? But there are good articles and good videos on how to detect this stuff. And whether or not, you know, the media is conflating things and they're just trying to pump a story maybe to distract, or if it's even true or not, but a general consensus is like, if it's being reported on multiple outlets, then, you know, and you can find this, or, you know, there's a way to, if it's one place saying this happened, it's usually like when the stock market is dropping horribly, right? And if you only watch Fox News and they're like, there's a trans woman in men's sports, and you're like, that's the biggest news story today, that's suspect, you know? Like, you should worry about that. If every other news outlet is reporting on something and, you know, one is saying like, no, this is the big story today, that's suspect. That might be the distraction. But usually if you can find it in multiple places, you can also check, like, if the government says, in this big, beautiful bill we're passing, it's going to help everybody. Well, I linked the other day in my description the actual bill, congress.gov. You can go and read these things. And they put them in legalese, so the common person has trouble with double negatives and what this actually means. But you can read it for yourself, and then through help or asking people, you can try to decipher what these things mean. And then you can also go to reliable sources. Democracy Now! Is a great news outlet that reports on, you know, the hard truth of things. And a lot of the times too, as a general rule of thumb, if this regime, if President Taco is attacking them, saying they're fake news, you might want to look into what they're saying, because usually he calls fake news anything he doesn't like or is critical of him. So, but it is tough. I will give you that, Diesel. Back in the day, we used to have to go find a book to look shit up, you know? But it's tough. Check out the articles I did put down below. The Vatican is run by solar power. That's awesome. You know, Pope's doing some good now. But this was a Pope from long before. Sydney Sweeney has a new soap bar made from her used bathwater. Gross. And Elon Musk leaked drug use. And I put a few more articles down there too if you want to do some reading today. I thank you guys for hanging out with me. Please, if you have not, hit subscribe, join the conversation, and then hit the notification bell. I go live and talk about the news every single weekday. We just do some commentary. We get the gist when trolls are in here, and, you know, we have fun. So I'm working to bring stuff that I know we need to think about in a different way to your attention. That's really what it is. We need to stop fucking thinking that these CEOs want what's best for us. They don't. Your boss and you do not have the same incentives, okay? They need to pay you the least they can to make the most money, and you need to survive. So you guys, your beliefs don't align, and we need to stop thinking that these billionaires give a shit about us, and we need to start coming together. We need to all start joining together and being like, I'm standing up for you. I believe that you should have health care and you should never go into medical debt for it. That your grandparents should be able to have health care and not have to eat cat food because their social security or their pension was cut. We need to support each other. Our communities are so vital, so important, and we need to fight back. And that's what I try to do here every weekday. So please hit subscribe, join me. Thank you, Diesel, for stopping by. I know you've been here before, so it's good to see you again, even if you're trying to troll me. I love it. Listen, I try not to take things too serious. The only thing I do is, like, you know, racism, misogyny, that stuff. I won't mess around with that, but the rest, let's have some fun while we talk about the news. Thank you guys so much. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Much love, respect. Have a great weekend. Peace.